everybody, and welcome to another episode of Via the Void, a Warframe news podcast about everything that happens in and around Warframe. And as every week, I am joined by my good friend Age, and you can find him at Age Night Road on Twitter and also on Twitch. Say hello, Age.
Hi. More on Twitter, not as much on Twitch these days. But
yeah, we all have that problem.
I know. Overtime sucks.
Yeah.
But hey, get some holiday cash.
Maybe we can spend some money on some Warframe stuff that we might be talking about today.
Ooh.
But we will get to that. Apologies for if you're watching us on YouTube and we weren't there last week. Just things, unfortunately, but we're here and we'll talk all about some stuff. But let us jump into the news. That is why you're here. So what was it, not last week, but the week before that, Friday, the Old Blood update went out, or was it the Thursday? I think it was the Thursday. The Old Blood update went live, and it brought a whole slew of things. We've talked about in the past. We're not going to go too deep diving into it because I think like even the previous episode, not much has changed. Like not much was changed. It was kind of like the finalization of all that stuff. But we're going to maybe more address the aftermath, maybe how our experiences have been. I'd love to hear your guys if you got to try it. Maybe get to hear if you have some crazy Kuva Lich names. But we'll kind of go through each of the things. So one of the things that came with the Old Blood update was the melee change phase 2, which brought us heavy attacks, melee attacks that would now work in midair, lift and juggling techniques, a new combo system, rebalancing the melee weapons, and also what I've loved, return of manual blocking and the melee state in general. But
yeah, that's really nice.
So I won't lie, when that came out, because I was like, is there like a toggle that I have to do in the options? I completely forgotten. It's only been one phase. That it was you had to hold the F key to get out your melee weapon permanently.
Yeah.
Like I completely forgot about that in that amount of time. And I was just like, how do I leave my melee weapon out? For like the first day, and I was like looking at it, and then I looked up and people were like, yeah, you gotta hold the button. I'm like, that was a thing. So but
totally forgot.
It does seem like you have to do the heavy attacks, lift and juggling, kind of the combos and stuff. You have to, and of course the manual blocking, you have to be in that melee state, so you have to hold the weapon key to switch to bring out your melee weapon.
That makes sense though.
Oh yeah. Well, especially because and I gotta find a good button for my heavy attacks, because right now I just have it on pushing my middle mouse button. But basically how it works is as you're doing your regular attacks, now your combo counter counts up, and that's how you can spend a heavy attack, and depending on the weapon, that's how it is basically.
It's pretty cool. It reminds me of I think it's basic. I wonder if they got a fighting game expert or something like that, or someone likes fighting games and they just kind of helped out with this, because there's a lot of fighting mechanics here that I'm seeing, that like juggling, like midair attacks, heavy attacks, in addition to light attacks. So mixing in for like that combination. So that's kind of cool to see in a game, especially in a game like Warframe, where you can have different weapons, different types of cool combos. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I was gonna say, I mean, I know it was a community meme kind of a thing, and then they once again took it and put it in their game, was the frame fighter. I wonder if maybe that started, like maybe that made them start looking into it. Exactly. Now, granted, I don't think that's in the, like, I don't think the melee update, but maybe there will be. Probably not, but
That
maybe one day.
that would make sense because yeah, that they definitely have someone who likes fighting games then because they have Frank Fighter. I totally forgot about that. I need to collect all of them. Um, but I dig it. I think is there one more phase after this? I think it was.
Yeah, this isn't like officially 3.0 or anything. This is, I think they just refer to it as phase 2, but I think the next, oh, I don't know if they really talked too much about the next phase. I'm trying to think back to the other dev streams when they were uh, showing off some of the,
Yeah,
but
but it's really cool. I think it's just really cool that they addressed melee in such a way that it comes out in phases and they're very vocal about it, like how they're doing it, and they seem to have a good plan of how they want to roll it out. So much kudos to them on that. I don't see that very often, and it seems like it's very smooth so far. Like I've had no real complaints about the melee ever since or late last year, I guess. But it's cool to
yeah,
see
it
like
took a
all
little
these new
getting used
features.
to, but I've really started to like it. Like for example, the I started using like my like one of the sword and shields, and basically to do some of the combos, it was like basically involved just spamming your melee attack key. But if you would use the block, that's why you kind of need to be in that melee state. Like for the sword and shield, it would basically do a charge. So you block and then attack, and it would just basically charge forward. And then it would be like if you were standing still, you do a different attack versus walking forward or walking back. Or so it seems like they're mostly somewhat simple combos, but then you got to the lifting and juggling, which I think I've gotten a couple lifts. I have not been very successful with juggling, but
Hmm.
maybe that means it's pretty accurate because I don't think I've ever been good at juggling in a fighting game. I'm usually the one being juggled and going mother.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Especially it's a 3D plane too, so that's what kind of makes it interesting for me to check out.
I'm trying to think like because as we were talking about that, and I see Arlie in chat, and we were actually all starting to kind of play Dauntless here and there. I'm like this kind of feels a little bit like Dauntless, where it's like I hope this isn't taken as a negative, but it has I would feel simpler combos. I don't know how Monster Hunter World works, or Monster Hunter games. I've never really gotten to play Monster Hunter games, unfortunately, because I've never had the console or something. But I don't know how elaborate uh their combo system is, because when I think of combo systems, I think of fighting games first, kind of like what you're saying. And the one I used to always play was Dead or Alive, where it was like, you know, insane strings of combos to get like a cool looking move off or something.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, so are the combos in particular are more complex? Because I know Monster Hunter has more in depth systems and weapons and stuff, but I wasn't sure if the combo system was.
Monster Hunter is more complex in terms of uh from what I've played, there's a lot of different items and there's I don't know if you have actually like trapping monsters as well. Um I think the combos are very very similar in terms of attacks for different weapons, different attack combos, things like that. There's one thing in Monster Hunter that you can do that you can't do in Dauntless, I don't think, and that's like do like a special animation attack on a monster. Like it seems almost like a cutscene type of deal, which is pretty cool. I wish they kind of had that. Um,
Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but you kind of have that in Warframe with if you run across certain Kuva Lich thralls. And
hmm.
if you run across your Kuva Lich, but if you run across it too early, that might not end well. But but yeah, the melee, like, so I guess the melee system from the combo standpoint would from the sounds of it sound more closer to Dauntless than uh Monster Hunter games.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah.
like let's be honest. Like Monster Hunter is not hard to get into. It's just that there's a
Well, I
lot.
just didn't know if the combos were elaborate. Like I said, when I think of Dead or Alive games, it was like because I'm not too familiar with some of the other games. Like I'm familiar with Mortal Kombat fighting game where there are
Um,
elaborate ones, but I would still say Dead or Alive, at least earlier iterations of both of them, still had ones because I would have ones where it's like you have to do a semi arc this way, then do, and this was on like an Xbox controller, it was like AXY, then a semi arc the other way, then BYX, and then like
keep
then like
juggling
three
that way.
more steps. It was like, huh? So
Um,
I don't know if any other fighting games ever been that more elaborate. I'm kind of, you know,
I know Mortal Kombat is. Um, I think even the newest one, you could do some pretty interesting juggles. Marvel versus Capcom, there are some interesting juggles as well. Um, what's
well, see
Infinite?
that wasn't even a juggle. That was just getting off one special attack. That's why I'm saying the
Well,
combo system is
oh, I'm not
it
even talking
for
about special
Warframe. It's
attacks.
nothing like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not even talking about special attacks. I'm talking about chaining, like actual, like kicks and punches together. That's what I assume by combos. So there was that one. There's what was
So
that? There was a what was the DC one?
Injustice.
Injustice. Injustice 2. I don't
It was
know
very
if
much like the Mortal Kombat games where you could pull off, or the newer. I mean, it was made by the same people.
okay, so like from what I've seen from fighting up so that there's like small juggles you can do. Smash Bros. There's some
And
small
I mean, I
juggles.
haven't personally pulled off any juggles, like I said in Warframe, or if I have, it's been by accident. But I don't know, from the feel of some of the other dynamics here, it's probably like you're saying, smaller scale juggling. Like,
Yeah, but I think in most juggling is more about understanding the spacing that you have after each attack and how to chain into the next one and where that person's going to be and what the next attack can land in order to keep juggling attacks in. Um, so like for Smash, I do small juggles like off a platform, hopefully, or if I knock someone in the air, I'm coming back up so that I can like hit them off the edge, or I can do a combination or catch them while they're landing type of deal. Like all these weird different things. But
though, I would say with the melee update, I have noticed the, I guess the best way to put it is the Skyriminess, or maybe the Elder Scrolls eness of it, where like if I start doing, like, maybe that's why I haven't been able to juggle something. I'd like charge into something and I would send it flying across the map. I'm like, how am I supposed to catch that? Like, the
that's
worst
true.
part is that you don't do enough damage. Like, it falls on the ground and then it gets back up. It's like, oh, now I gotta go over there. But
I mean, some in Smash, some juggles require you to move because of the percentage of persons that so in order to continue the juggle, because you have like that limited space of time before that person can recover. So if you hit them before they recover, you can still continue to like bully them, which is always fun.
but I know we're kind of like all over the place with the melees. But I mean, overall, how are your feelings of the Warframes melee changes? And I
I
mean,
did it.
it definitely wasn't without faults. I know there was a couple bugs with like the mods transferring over, because it was getting away from it. It's no longer using the channeling system, and it's had to convert some of the mods. And I know some weren't working properly, but I think for the most part, most of them have been slowly being, corrected over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
But yeah, I'm excited. I've been enjoying melee again. Especially like I said with the manual block. I've been using my Guardian Derision. Is it? I think it was Derision mod, where basically when you block, it will taunt enemies within 15 meters to start shooting at you.
hmm.
So, and usually I run Oberon, so it was kind of nice because I'd always have a heal, and I usually ran a build that as I take damage, it gives me energy, which fuels my heal, and so That's why I was so sad when they took out. Well, they made it where it was like, if you're in the way of one of the bullets, then you'll block, which kind of made it hard for that because I would be like, I'd have to go over to an enemy and be like, shoot me, so I automatically block it to taunt everybody else, and it's like, but anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, also like what came with the Old Blood update, was the Kuva Lich system. And for people who don't know, it works similar to the Nemesis system that you would find in, originally in Shadow of War and what is it, Shadow of Mordor. But I know a lot of people are saying, because I think when they said that they took inspiration from that, people were like, "Oh, it's clearly a 1-to-1." Right now, it definitely doesn't feel like that, and we'll get into like the issues and stuff like that. But I'm also curious that I was always surprised when we found out that they were actually bringing out the Kuva Lich system earlier than Empyrean, because in my mind, I always thought it was you basically built the strategy to go fight them, and then you took your ship from Empyrean to that solar system to go to their ship and board it and fight them. At least that's what I always felt from the demo. Maybe that was just them trying to show off everything.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, since we don't have the ships, hopefully soon, basically how it works is, well, first, since it's only Grenier right now as the only faction, you have to go to a mission that is above level 20, I believe, which puts you, I think, right around Saturn, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, you go into a mission, and it seemed like pretty often you would have a Kuva Guardian come up and say something, and then you would have to find the Grenier that has been marked, and when you kill them, the story behind it is the Kuva Queen will take them, give them Kuva blood to make them this Kuva Lich that makes them eternal and ever living, and you can't kill them except if you have the special rune word that from the new Parazon or
Wow.
Wrist Blade. But that's kind of where the Nemesis system comes into play, is you kind of have to kill the other thralls to maybe hopefully figure out the word, or just keep stabbing the Kuva Lich, and every time you fail, he or she will pick you up if you fail and throw you out, like throw you away. I think it pretty much kills you, and it levels up. And I think it only caps at level 5, which level 5 I think makes, I want to say level 120, or I think I heard level 150 mobs. So that I think that's as worse as it can get. But the whole time, if you are doing missions in the area that the Kuva Lich is controlling, which shows a little blood haze over the map over the planet, if you do any missions in there, it will actually have a chance to steal things from you. And when you do kill the Kuva Lich, you do get everything back, they said. But there have been issues, which I know they said they've corrected. Some people are still claiming it's not working, but boy howdy, when it first came out, it would steal things like some things that were bad, like, oh, I went for a relic reward, like one of the special rewards that would drop from a special mission. It would take that, and it's like, what, to a point that I think it was they had Gift of the Lotus event on that Friday. It was taking people's Gift of the Lotus stuff, like the special.
Oh no.
So whoopsie. But I think they have addressed that mostly. Some people are still reporting that it is taking some high valued items. Now, I don't know, for me, if it's not a time sensitive event like a holiday event or something where it's literally taking like currency for that or something, that should maybe be put to the side. I mean, it makes you hate them. For me, it's like, now I want you dead. Like, especially now that because I know they were debating back and forth where they're like, oh, you might get most of it or all of it. They're debating. That would suck if it was like you only got most of it, and that would have been one of the things you didn't get back. But since you do
Jeez.
get eventually everything back, it's like while it does suck that it's like, oh, they took like a relic or something, it makes you hate them. It's doing their job. But one of the things I think was a real shame was one of the bugs that was, well, one of the things that they found out was we all found out was a bug was, like I said, as you're doing missions, you have an opportunity to use your wrist knife blade thing to do a finisher style thing to get what they call murmur. I think it's called murmur. That helps
From the
you
heart.
that helps you figure out the specific rune word to make the kill phrase to kill the Kuva Lich.
That's.
And but
I didn't know there was a whole system like that. That was very interesting.
oh yeah.
Like the phrase thing. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the Parazon. I think I said it earlier, but I wasn't 100% sure. But yeah, it's the Parazon that is the new blade.
Oh, we
And it's
didn't
basically
call
used
it.
for the hacking and all that stuff now. But what was I saying? What was I saying?
Like the other blade name.
I don't know what I was saying. Chat. What was I saying? Oh, the bug that was happening was, well, the thing that we didn't know was a bug because people liked it as a feature. Was the if you were in a group with other people, when you stab something, like defeat it or pushed away one of the Kuva Liches, because when you fail at one, it still gives you like some murmur to like figure things out. It would share across everybody, and
Oh.
I mean, it kind of seems like it would entice me to be like, if you had a Kuva Lich in another area, it's like, hey, I need help with this. Well, hey, I'll get something out of it because murmur would somehow go towards mine, which I guess lore wise wouldn't make sense because we're separate enemy, like it's separate enemy type things.
Mm-hmm.
But and that was what turned out to be the bug. So they kind of removed that, which in turn kind of removed a reason for people to group with one another besides maybe clanmates being like, okay, I'll help you with yours, you got to help me with mine type thing. But I just don't know. While it makes sense lore wise, I don't think it's a good like for a cooperative game, you know.
Yeah, I don't mind if they get like reduced murmur or anything like that.
Or
At least it
yeah,
helps
maybe even reduce
progress.
remember, that'd be a good idea.
Um, but yeah, like I don't really see a problem with it unless they want it to be like a solo thing that you're supposed to do. So I guess it depends on the intention.
Yeah.
But like if you're gonna go, but if that's the case, you should like solo the Kuva Lich. Then in that case, they shouldn't need a team of people to help you.
Well, you can definitely solo it. It does make it easier with a group. I mean, but
Yeah,
it is one
but
of those
if
things where I mean,
it,
the main story's kind of already solo. It's like, shouldn't there be some kind of group play? And these are kind of the
that,
highest level mobs that we're seeing occur right up front. Like, because yeah, you can get to like level 200 enemies if you're running a survival or a defense for an hour. But are you
see,
really gonna
yeah,
like?
that's the question you have to ask. Like, is this content supposed to be group content at some point, or is it supposed to be purely solo content? I can see it being group content in terms of, okay, I need to help out. Like, I can see at some points like there's your nemesis like hordes an armada or something like that, and then like it's group content to like go and fight them. That makes sense to me. Like, and you could call for backup, or like when Imperium actually comes out, you have like you're fighting different ships and things like that. That also makes sense to me. Um, but otherwise, I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's kind
Yeah.
of odd in that respect.
I mean, but they did hear, like, they are listening to people's feedback, and I know one of the devs actually came out and said that they are discussing re-looking at the what used to be what was the bug, and maybe considering. I kind of like your compromise of maybe it is for a lesser murmur,
Yeah,
like,
I don't see a problem with that.
yeah, because from a, I guess from a lore perspective, yeah, they're not my enemy, but they are all technically bound by this Kuva blood, which should all be the same resource, which should have some innate core, you know, data that you could extract from it.
Yeah,
So, like you said, if it is a lesser rate, maybe that's how they could kind of get the work around or something like that. Because I know some of them, I'm like looking at them like, I gotta do an interception, like, which for people who don't know, is it the interception? The one where you have
um,
to control 4 points, not the
oh,
new one, but
that's
basically
the
the four.
one.
What is
Yeah.
it?
Oh, damn it, I forgot already.
Okay, chat saying yes.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like doing that. I'm like, I gotta do that with like level 150, 180, or whatever mobs running around, and might get jumped by the and keep those towers up. I'm like, there is no way without like some like at least one other person to hold down maybe 2 points each. But at least for
Hmm.
me, I mean, I'm sure there are some out there that can easily pull it off. Ain't me. But this is supposed to be the hardest stuff. But so I don't know. And there is the option, but of getting your friend, it's one of those harder sells when it's like, one of the things of like there's nothing in it for the other player.
Yeah, I would say at least give them like reduced murmur at the very least. I think it's fine if you do that. Um, anything else? I don't, because at least a bit of the murmur allows them to progress through the content they're supposed to do. And if they want to trade, they can still trade, and everyone gets like a little bit extra than usual. So actually, I think it's even better that way because it promotes actually helping each other out and like even trading. So let's say you don't trade, you get a little bit of murmur for helping your friend out. If you do trade, everyone gets their murmur plus a little extra. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
the
you can
worst
make a
thing in the
night
world.
of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
Um, but in chat saying they're not liking the system so far. I mean, what are some of the reasons you've come across, or like don't you like about it? Because I am definitely curious. Because I know a lot of people are out there and they are looking into stuff. They actually do have a dev workshop up, but before we go into the dev workshop, some of the other bugs that would make sense were a lot of people were having issues with each of the Kuva Liches when you obtain one or one starts tracking you. Um, has a particular weapon attached to them, and it's supposed to be random. And you can see the layouts here of the different primary, secondary, melee, and arc gun. And people were saying, like, I think I was hearing Tactical Potato, actually, with one of his most recent ones, saying, I think he was going through 9 Kuva Liches, and I think 7 of them were, like, the same weapon, and, like, 2 of them were the other one.
I thought each Kuva Lich was had their
Well,
own unique
it'll randomly
weapon.
give them another weapon. It'll randomly give them the weapon, but it seems like
I
because
thought.
a lot of people are also noticing because they did say it depends on what frame you use to kill it, and it seems like that will affect like the skills that the Kuva Lich will get,
Yeah,
the uh, what's it called, the status effect that they'll get, and people are making charts of it, like, oh, if you attack it with this Warframe, it'll have radiation or fire, blah blah blah. So I'm wondering if the originally when they said it was kind of randomly generated, it doesn't seem as randomly generated as it is. I wonder if maybe the weapon thing has done the same thing,
yeah, it depends on
possibly.
the it depends on the factors that cause the random generation. So if
Yeah.
people are doing the same thing over and over, it could be randomly generating the same thing because it's within the same threshold of properties that's being sent. So if you like you're on Ember, for example, and you're constantly doing fire damage, and you're constantly using the same like rifle, I guess, with the same stats in order to kill it, it may regenerate something based on that. I have no idea though. I thought legitimately it was like just like it was a pool of things. It kind of like cut it in half based on like what you've done. So you have a chance to get the same lich, but you know maybe not, or maybe just like take it out of the pool so that
Well,
you can
I've
just
heard
do
pretty
things.
pretty positives on like not getting the same lich twice. I
Okay.
mean, but it just seems like
And here's
the
the thing.
qualities of it are very similar, but the look of it's different, and of course the name. But
Okay, so that's what I thought. I thought the look and I thought there would be kind of like a base to the lich, and then it has some properties, and then based on those, you would get a weapon, not based on the damage you do to it, based on the randomly generated lich that you get a certain thing.
yeah, it
No,
doesn't seem exactly like that. But
I don't know.
uh, but but one of the other issues I see, what the one that chat brought up, it is one that I have seen a lot, is basically it takes too long to complete a murmur, which, like I said, it's kind of like, think of like a little rep to uncover and figure out uh, one of the parts of the kill phrase. Because I think we said on previous episodes, uh, to get the different kill phrase sections itself, you have to go into a special now requiem. Sorry, you gotta go to a Kuva siphon or a Kuva flood map, which it only appears next to the, where if you're looking on the map and you zoom out, there's a Kuva fortress that floats kind of around the map in a circle. Whatever the the planets that are near that one is, there'll be little nodes for those types of maps. So the Kuva flood is the harder of the two, but it supposedly gives you a 100% chance at a Requiem mod, and the Kuva Siphon ones are like a 33% chance at getting a Requiem relic to drop. And then you have to take those relics, brack them in a special Requiem thing, which only happens on the Kuva Fortress, which seems like, and I've seen a complaint about this, it basically boils down to, due to a lot of the maps on the Kuva Fortress having Arcwing sections, um, only really two maps will ever spawn as a uh, place where you can crack the relics, and that's a rescue mission, which, ugh, that's never good, having to protect the rescue guy, and survival. So, and I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm just going to wait till the survival, especially because the survival, you can stay in longer if you so desire and crack more relics at one time.
Yeah.
But they're like, people are asking, like, you have a new what is it, disruption game type on that on the Kuva Fortress. You have the other ones. It's like, is there some way like for it to have like a notice? Because I think they said all the maps aren't just the same every single time. It's tile set generated, kind of like if you think Diablo style games where they, put a bunch of pieces together, so it's always randomly generated. People were hoping, is there a way that DE could figure out if it activates that, it will not spawn an Arcwing tile set on that mission, just so they could have more options. But then you ideally have to get the rune words, and then, like I said, once again, trial and error of either still stabbing the thralls to slowly figure out the correct kill word, or keep failing against the lich, with trial and error, because the way you figure it out is you can put 3 of your little parts of your kill phrase on your Parazon, and when you get the Kuva Lich so far down, you have an opportunity to stab it, and it'll be like successful, or if it's a failure, it'll boot you back and kill you. It'll run off, level up if it can. So a lot of people are saying it feels like you got to get really lucky if you ever want to get it before level 5. But yeah, so I know a lot of people have complained about the RNG of that part.
I don't think there should be RNG in that. I think it should be, you should get it low enough to a point where you can like execute with the Parazine. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it should just get low enough to execute with it. I don't think there should be an RNG element to it. Because like, if you get it low enough, you should be able to like down it. Or
I
you
know a lot
kill
of
it
people have
into like
suggested.
a. Sorry.
I've heard a lot of people suggest like it shouldn't kill you, like maybe not like knock you back, and then if there's other things around, and maybe using your idea, because I think you have an opportunity when you take it down like a third of health, and you have a chance to stab it. So maybe you have 3 chances to, and like repel it or something.
Yeah, or just gets away. It shouldn't just kill you straight out just because. Yeah, no, like.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it should either boot you away. It should either boot you, not kill you, and get away, or you should be able to just kill it because you got it low enough.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to happen, you'd have to get it probably exceedingly low, or you kill it and it goes into like this down state where you can actually stab it. That's the only thing I can suggest. And you have like a 5 seconds or like 3 seconds to actually stab it. You know, like, because you have that window in order to do it.
Or something like there's like a, I guess, refractory period. Like, what if you do stab it? Because supposedly, if you don't have the correct word, it'll regenerate and become more powerful.
Well, that's your
what
problem.
If you killed it and
That's your problem. If you kill it with the wrong word.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you kill it and like, it's gonna come back. But what if it's like, okay, it won't bug you in missions for 24 hours or 12 hours or whatever the time they want to pick is, and that way you can just focus on killing the thralls to hopefully build up murmur or something like that. Because I know that was if they don't want it to be you get killed, you killed or something.
But it's like a stalker, I guess. They're using the stalker mechanic in order to do this. So it depends on those systems if it can compensate. So if they can put on timer, sure. If they can put on, it's like it attacks you once a day. I don't know, but I think they just want that element of surprise in there. But I can see how that can get annoying because, like, let's say you're helping out a friend during a mission or something, and then you just get attacked. It's like, crap. But or if you're leveling weapons and stuff,
And I'm kind of on the fence because, yeah, the RNG sucks, but I mean, honestly, isn't that Warframe in general? It is a kind of grinding like everything is a chance at a drop of something. But this is supposed. But this is supposed to be like the end game, isn't it? Shouldn't it take a while? Like, I don't know. I come from like older MMOs and stuff like that where, you might spend months before you could down a boss or something. Like it's.
I mean, I would say back then, yes, but with it depends. Like, is this supposed to be a time investment thing? Like, how long is supposed to be that investment? There's a lot of factors that I just don't know. So for me, it seems like a solo player aspect where you're supposed to spend the time to like gather these things in order to take down this Kuva Lich to get this weapon. But if it's supposed to be repeatable content, I figured it would take players who dedicate the time, maybe 2-3 days to it, and then reset and do another one type of deal.
Yeah, because on top of it, there's not just the weapons. I think they've added ephemeras that are attached to the Kuva Liches and stuff like that. And so there's a couple of things that can drop. I haven't seen any ephemeras yet, but
yeah. So I don't know. Really depends.
Yeah, and Chad is bringing up a good point. Like a lot of pretty much the Parazon mods are also found in those Kuva relics or Requiem Requiem relics. So,
Okay.
but I mean, you're going to get a lot of them as you're trying to probably get the right rune words, which I know another issue people have been having is we've talked about in the past when you use them correctly, like it won't penalize you when it's wrong, but when you correctly use them, there's about, I think they said 3 charges on it before it becomes like defunct and you have to find the rune section again. But and people are saying like now I have all these empty ones, and I think you can salvage them like any other mod for like endo or something, something everybody has tons of, and now it's useless. But with the dev workshop, they're trying to look into throwing out the idea of addressing some of these issues. We were talking earlier about the weapon RNG. They wanted to try to reduce that. They were bringing up a system where the Kuva Lich will no longer have the same weapon twice in a row. While you may get duplicated weapons down the road, your Kuva Lich will have a guaranteed different weapon than its immediate predecessor. So that helps alleviate it a little bit.
Okay.
Also, one of the other ones they proposed, going back to the Requiem mods, recycling your Requiem mods, so don't throw them away, especially if this goes through. 4 defiled Requiem mods, which are the defunct ones that you can't use anymore, can now be transmuted into a random, fully charged Requiem mod. This gives some additional use as well as helping clean out your inventory. And the other stuff that we talked about in the past, where they're looking at the Lich trading system. So basically, if you have a converted Kuva Lich, because when you do have the chance to kill them, or you have the correct kill phrase, you do have the option to finish them off, which will, I think, give you the weapon, or you can convert them, and they'll become an ally and possibly randomly show up and try to help you in dire situations. So if you have a converted Kuva Lich, you would be able to trade them with another player who may be looking for a specific Kuva Lich weapon or ephemera. The system will be coming soon, they said, including the use of a brand new dojo room. And they said it was inspired by the early war room design from the Kingpin system. So I don't know what that looks like, but it sounds cool. And they also said just more to come. They're always looking at people's feedback. They do want the Kuva Lich system to... they want to look at ways for the system to be more rewarding and unique. And they said, although there is still a lot of internal discussion surrounding the hows, while maintaining the design intent, they said more on this as it is finalized. So definitely, keep voicing your opinion and all that stuff. But I have heard that a lot. What Chad's bringing up, a lot of the RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG, it very much feels like it dwindles down to nothing. I don't know. I just always felt like Warframe was a grinding game. I always had the mentality of it was like, hey, we'll make a night of just literally farming Requiem relics, not cracking them. Literally spend like 2 or 3 hours just dedicated to that thing that one night to get a stock of them, but
Yeah.
and luckily they're not like the rare chance. At least the kill phrases in the mods, they're the second tier, so not as bad. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on the things that they propose for the dev workshop?
I think it's good that you reduce the duplicates as much as possible, especially if you have a lot of variations. So that's really good. Lich trading is interesting. I don't I don't know if I agree with it, but
Well, that was always supposed to be the idea that you could trade it, like stuff like that. So
If you, oh,
I think they're just talking about
I
this
was,
a little bit more of the specifics, but
I don't know. I don't know about trade. Like it's like, oh, this is my mortal enemy. It's like, oh, I have this mortal enemy. Want to swap? It's like, yeah, sure. Why
well,
not?
and
It's like
this is why I'm curious of the how they're describing it, because if it's if it's a converted Kuva Lich, that means he's your ally, or he or she. Um, and but I thought in order to get the weapon you had to kill them. So are you literally being like, okay, we'll like trading is basically me going, Age, I just sent a mercenary, like a killer after you, like how, that's what I'm curious about, because if they're the converted one, they wouldn't be able. I don't think they give you your weapon unless I was mistaken on that. I thought that was the trade-off. They become your ally and can help you, or you kill them and take their stuff. And
yeah. I don't know. That's a little confusing. It's just confusing for me in general to trade.
But like yeah, I just remember when I first heard that. Well, I like the idea, especially because if it's harder to get stuff, like I said, I think I said it on one of the previous shows, was almost using it as like a kind of giveaway contest for like a dojo later on. Like, hey,
I don't know. For me, it's more like I should random another boss and fight it. Because that's what I feel like should have been the grind if you wanted to. But
trying to find that perfect combination.
Yeah, because like if you want,
well, trust me, that's there too. That's why I think people are saying the RNG on top of the RNG on top of the RNG.
Well, I think that it would just be one art. I don't know. Like again, I don't know how they're RNGing the actual Kuva Lich, so I can't.
Yeah, because it doesn't
really
seem like it's fully RNG.
So it seems like because to me the trading feels like it's compensating for that fact. So, but, yeah. Anyway,
but I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm enjoying the tough enemy. I definitely sympathize with everybody trying to get the really tough weapons out of the way, or getting the really tough like weapons for the master rank. But for me personally, I feel like this is one of the situations where this was supposed to be with Empyrean, but it was more ready, and at least that's how, like I said, I always felt like that was part of Empyrean, and hopefully once it's all full, fleshed out, we get like a solid system. But because I wouldn't mind if it was like you build up a thing, they have a chance to find you and kill, like attack you, but when you're ready to cut down on the RNG-ness of it, you could be like, there's their ship, I'm taking my railjack and coming after them. Like, so you basically remove at least that level of the RNG out of it.
Yeah,
but unfortunately we don't have our railjacks yet. But yeah, any other thoughts on the Kuva Lich system?
No, not right now.
All right, well, next up, another thing that dropped for the Old Blood update was our good friend Grendel. And we kind of went over like the how it works. Passive, each enemy consumed grants bonus armor. Feast, you can basically swallow up your enemies. You, I think, can eat up to 5 enemies, or I think it's indefinitely, but it is the more you eat or consume, it takes more energy, so to keep it going. So theoretically, you could just, eat as much as you want. But if you run out of energy, you will vomit all the enemies up, and you basically, I think you fall on the ground and get stunned for a little bit. But you can also hold your one skill to vomit the stored enemies out. Nourish, you consume one of the enemies and get like a buff, radial buff for you and your squad. Regurgitate, you basically kind of like the one skill where you vomit them back up, but you put force behind them. You launch them like a projectile. Like you can launch them across maps. And then the 4 skill, which is Pulverize, which if you have enemies within you, You can turn into a big ball and roll around, and I think they actually made it so while you're rolling around, if you hit Nourish, it will actually give you a little speed boost as well. And but since we do kind of come from Guild Wars 2, I try to tell people in the past, it kind of works if you're familiar with the roller beetle, where downhill you'll get more momentum, uphill, so it's very physics based. It's not like, solid running or anything like that. But
Yes.
yeah. So if you are here live, I guess we'll say it now. Just the
Oh, what do you want to tell the good people, Dale?
No, we're not. Oh, well, no, we're not gonna tell them how things panned out.
Okay.
But we were teasing back and forth because they kind of said like Gauss and Grendel were a team, and Age, fell in love with Gauss, which I do like Gauss. I said that I think a couple weeks ago. Yeah, but I was looking forward to Grendel. Well, we had our race. It was a close race. It was a tough fuck battle. But if you are watching us on YouTube, we'll put the video out separately. That way, if you just want to watch the news stuff, there and there. If you're watching live after we take end the show, we'll give a little bit of time, and we'll play the video live here. So if you can stick around, or like I said, when this all goes up on YouTube, ideally tomorrow, we'll probably put it out a little bit later. That way you're not getting two videos at once and stuff like that.
To hide my emotions for this.
But yeah, so you'll definitely be able to enjoy that. You should put it over your eyes because you'll be weeping because we all know how it ended. But
I have the Spider-Man mask. I'll just use this.
Okay. But no, and I agree with chat. Like I am enjoying Grendel. Now I really feel like J. Jonah Jameson, because now I feel once you see the show or once you see the video, he's definitely a menace. But
that messed up my hair. I just realized. Oh,
who's winning now? Who's winning now? Anyway, but yeah, definitely, I definitely like him. I mean, I just wanted for once a chunky frame, and we got one. I think it still needs a little bit of work and like love and stuff like that. I think the management of it is a little bit off.
For Pulverize or for
I really don't think holding on to the enemies should keep energy, like keep expunging energy, because the rest of the kit is so reliant on that. And a lot of I saw someone earlier say a lot of it seems like it's a idea they've had for the newer frames where they've had all this secondary resource manipulation and stuff like that on top of the energy.
Oh, you don't have that with this?
Well, no, ours is the enemies that are in our gut.
Oh, you can't.
But the problem is ours is directly, we had to keep them in us, but it's also taking our energy.
It's not
so it's like
that's true. I didn't think about that because I thought it would be affected by ability.
And I know that was one of the last minute change things that they did before they released it.
Which I was thinking that it makes sense just because if let's say you have the ability to eat like everything on Plains Vitalan, let's say you have that ability. Imagine.
And I think there should be a trade-off, that there should be like a level of fullness or something like that where.
Yeah. But imagine 1,000 people doing that on one server. That causes issues. So I think they needed some sort of limitation. I don't
know. I think it should have been a raw number that could have been probably increased by power strength or something.
So removal, MAAD open duration, extend duration per enemy not affected by MAADs. Grendel can swallow multiple enemies by moving aiming reptile. So each enemy swallow drains 1.5 energy points per second until killed or spat out. Energy drain per enemy ramps up to X per energy. Well, they don't know over time among enemies. Energy drain per enemy. Energy drain per enemy per second is affected by both ability efficiency and ability duration, but cannot go below 0.38 drain per second. So you do have, it's effective, but up to a limit.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's supposed to be their bread and butter. Like I think other frames can go farther with their resources than Grendel can.
I mean, for me, when I'm running, it's this, like, I have that initial cost, and then I have a tick per second type of deal, where you can seems like you can max it out to like half a tick per second, which isn't terrible, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you increase your pool of energy a little bit, it's not too bad.
Well, I mean, I hope there are going to be some tweaks, or maybe they'll look at it some more, because I know Gallus has gotten some love a couple weeks out from its release. I'm hoping Grendel gets a little bit of the same treatment, but also we kind of saw we saw a rework over Vauban and Ember. We're not going to go into the fine details, but I am curious if you've gotten a chance to try either of them, but and maybe how it feels. But
I went on Ember. I didn't really play around too much with her. I really wanted to try Vauban because when I was leveling with them, it was not fun.
wait, the rework wasn't fun?
No, not the like old Vauban.
Prior. Okay.
Yeah, that was not fun for me. It was like, oh, it was terrible. So I'm hoping Vauban's a lot of fun. I heard, okay, Votap saying Ember rework is good. I topped on my Ember, but I don't remember doing a lot with her when I did. So I'm just a little curious about how Ember works. Her World on Fire skill was fun. I spec'd for that, but now I have to spec for like the meteor shower type of deal. So that'll be fun. But I think Vauban's the one I'm going to focus on in terms of funness, because I think Ember's was fun before rework. I think Vauban was the one that really needed help. So with the different types of grenades and that pad where you can do a bunch of different things with it, I think it'll be fun to test out for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's all I've got.
Yeah, I've tried both, not extensively, but like just to try them out. And yeah, I've enjoyed Ember's rework. I think a lot of people have. I do like both. I do like both of them. I like Vauban because he gets that like roller ball that can just shock things on top of just, if you have a decent melee weapon. I mean, I enjoy melee, but you could have anything really. And the new combination, I love that the one has it's like basically lifts them all up and then also can pull them in, and then similar to Ember's Meteor, it's got the orbital strike thing. It's just I, I I've definitely enjoyed it a lot more than it was. So if you have a chance to play the regular versions, I think it's a good choice to try out. If you have a chance to get their Prime versions, which we'll talk later, you'll actually, if you want to, get a chance to get Vauban's here shortly.
Yeah.
But and I think Ember's is already out there in the wild. You should be able to still get. But
that's shoulder. Sorry.
Also another thing that came out was the deluxe skin for Titania, and boy, I've seen some people do images. Apparently, it dies
Oh my
beautifully.
gosh, that's good.
Like that underneath part, like kind of glow, like a has like a luminescent glow, and it like
That is
it
dope.
yeah. Go to like the fashion. I think it's called Warframe. Like it's like something Warframe fashion runway. It's you can find like the subreddit in the main Warframe subreddit, like on the side. But if someone has any there, I know people are linking stuff. People are doing amazing jobs of the look of it. Yeah, chat agrees. It's a very nice skin. Like,
It's really nice.
and since it is a deluxe skin, this isn't a Tenogen skin. This is made by DE. Um, it is platinum, so theoretically you could, trade, farm for mods or whatnot, and spend it, basically get it for through in-game needs through trading and stuff. So, but yeah, I think it's fantastic looking. I mean,
I like it.
Also, another thing that dropped with the update was the new Kavat that you could go obtain. It is the Vaska Kavat, which is kind of like the vampire kitty. It is found on the plains of Eidolon during night, which um, I think if you go talk to the hunter guy in Cetus, he'll actually warn you that, especially if you go, because you can actually hunt these. While I have not turned a Kavat into one, I have hunted one. So,
Oh,
because maybe they don't have one now, but I mean, hopefully eventually you'll be able to get a floof. But yeah. So yeah, you can only go farm these, or I think you can only get these at night. But basically, if you have a Kavat with you, it has a chance to get attacked by the Vaska Kavat and get bitten by and get basically the disease that will. And I think you can then extract the sample and then make your own Vaska Kavat.
yeah.
But
I gotta get a strain.
yeah, so definitely check, go try to get that. But also, the other stuff that kind of dropped was, of course, the Exilus weapon adapter. Basically an extra mod slot for primary and secondary weapons. They did say melee would come later after everything has settled down with the melee rework, but it is exclusively for utility mods, which are now things like ammo mutations. I think silencers on the mod, on the like the hush mod or whatnot, that make it a silent weapon. Little
That's
things
good.
like that.
I
So
like that.
yeah,
I like that they made it a utility one too.
mm-hmm. And on top of that, for all the fashion framers, maybe you want to get the Titania skin. 3 additional purchasable upgrade and appearance configurations can be purchased, which will make a total of 6 total per Warframe and weapon. And you do have to buy these each individually. It doesn't just unlock one slot on every weapon you ever own, or Warframe you ever own. It's literally each time, and I think it's 20 platinum, so it's not a whole lot in terms of trading and stuff, but
Yeah.
especially for fashion framing. But yeah, that was basically the old blood update. They did just say today that I think it was going through certification for consoles, so I think expect it pretty soon.
Okay.
I know a lot of console players were sad, but
It sucks that certification kind of hampers that, but tis what it is. It's going through a different environment, so yeah, they have to approve it. Uh, it makes me wonder if, because I know Overwatch tries to get everything out as around the same time as much as possible. I think even Diablo 3 at the time did it try to do as well. Like when they caught up. But I'm actually wondering if DE would rather like for Empyrean, would they release everything all at once, or will they just release it for PC and keep people on console like a couple days after or something like that?
Well,
Because
they'll
I
probably
feel
do a
like
couple weeks because I think what they tend to do is, I mean, I think all PC players realize this. We are the testers of it. We figure out the bugs that they can squash, like the major ones. So because that's the thing. If they, for Xbox and PlayStation, I don't know Nintendo, but they all refer to it as certification. So I'm assuming they have their same quality measurements. But for them to like, they can't just easily make like a quick fix like that like change these things. Like it'd have to go through certification again type
yeah,
thing. So I think
yeah.
that's why they try to get the majority of these bigger bugs out of the way. And yeah, I know I feel for the console players because it does suck, but it's like, would you want the content and be, possibly broken for that, like however long it would take for certification, like a week or so or 2 weeks
Yeah.
or
But technically they don't have to. They could. I would say it'd be nice, but I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying it'd be nice if everyone could play at the same time, experience the content together. But yeah, I get
it
it from that
would be,
perspective.
but I think that would require the consoles to lighten up on on their systems, which good luck on that.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But like I said, if you want to try Vauban and you maybe you enjoy them and want to go for the Prime, you're gonna have your chance here soon. They, I think, just announced today that the next Unvaulting will be Vauban and Ash. So when this does happen, they said it was that it was they were going to open soon. No specific date, unfortunately. But when it does, it will end the Saren and Valkyr bundles. So if you do want those, definitely pick them up. Or if you're trying to farm the relics, because do remember, while we're going to be talking about how much these packages cost, the actual the everything but the cosmetics you can get in game, like through the relic system. So as we're gonna go through it, if you want the whole bundle, everything that's coming in both of these, the Vauban and Ash dual prime pack feature, it is $59.99. Or like I said, for some of these things you can get it through the relics. But in this package you'll get 1200 platinum, Vauban Prime, Ash Prime, Fragor Prime, Stiletto Prime, Carrier Prime Sentinel, Vectis Prime, Citadella Prime Syandana, Kateno Prime Sugatra, Yamako Prime Syandana, Unda Prime Sentinel accessories, and Prime Glyphs. Which Prime Glyphs, or the Glyphs, just think of as kind of like profile icons. They're just more cosmetic stuff. But like the accessories and stuff like that, they're the cosmetics that you can only get through these specific bundles. But like I said, Vauban Prime, Ash Prime, Fragger, Axtiletto, Carrier Prime, Vectis, those things. When this bundle drops, so will the relics themselves. So yeah, if you want to try to get these things for just through in-game means, it will be available. Also, if you just want Vauban Prime stuff, it is $39.99, or where you'll get 400 platinum, Vauban Prime, Fragger Prime, which is the hammer that you're seeing there, Axtiletto Prime, Citadella Prime Syandana, Cateno Prime Sugatra, and the Prime Glyph for Vauban. The Ash Prime pack features for $39.99 as well, which is Ash Prime, Carrier Prime Sentinel, Vectis Prime, Yamako Prime Syandana, Unda Prime Sentinel accessories, and the Prime Glyph for it. And then you also, if you just want the cosmetics, like you were able to farm up everything, but you were like, I still need the cosmetics, they're not obtainable through game means, since it is cosmetic only. but you can get the Vauban Prime accessory pack, which is $20. It gives you 200 platinum, the Citadella Prime Syandana, and the Kateno Prime Sugatra. And then you have the Ash Prime accessory features, which is also $20, which will give you, once again, 200 platinum, the Yamako Prime Syandana, and the Unda Prime Sentinel accessories. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing I'm torn with is like I got Ash Prime due to, what was it, the 2 years ago TennoCon?
Yeah, I think I did too. I don't remember how I got them, but I have them.
It's probably through that means, because I was the one where they messed. There was an issue with keeping track of it, so it was basically, I think, anybody that logged in after a certain day or something like that played so much time or something like that. But yeah,
I need that Vauban helmet. That helmet is insanely good. I'm just like, that looks so cool.
Well, the relics will be coming out. Like I said, unfortunately they didn't say a date yet, but don't worry if you are still trying to go for the Saren and Valkyr Prime stuff. They do tend to be like, okay, it'll be ending in like a week or 2 weeks. Like they're still going to give a heads up when they give a date. So right now, since it's no specific date, don't think it's going to be like, oh yeah, we just decided to do it Friday. Sorry guys, like they don't do that. So do not worry. But yeah, any other thoughts on the Prime bundles?
Nope, seems good.
Interesting. An email went around for anybody that actually was apparently got the what was it, the sacrifice collections, the statuette.
I just want that. I sold out still.
Well, shame on you, because there was an email that was basically was saying it was from Reddit user Sherpa_Rage, and they actually were talking about along the lines of, as a token of their gratitude for getting either that or the Veruvian shirt, 1000 platinum stuff, or like I said, the sacrifice collection. They will be providing a 25% discount on the Empyrean collection when it becomes available.
But
and just in case if people are worried, D.E. Taylor, who is one of the community managers for Warframe, actually did confirm that this was a legitimate email. It's not like a,
that kind of sucks though, because like I would
actually, see, this is like a adopter thing. Unfortunately you're missing out now, but when this Empyrean thing comes out, you're gonna think about getting it just in case for the next thing, right?
I want it. I actually wanted it when we were talking about it, but it was sold out, and it's still sold out, and I can't get it. And I'm now gonna miss that on the Empyrean discount too. That's feels bad, man.
Well,
I even tried for the shirt, just the shirt too, and it was sold out. So I'm like, ugh.
Well, I guess my question is, what do you think would be the sculpture thing for Empyrean? Do you think it's going to be a railjack?
I think it's going to be the statue. I thought it was going to be the sacrifice statue that you got in that collection, but I could be wrong.
Oh, you think they're just going to repackage the sacrifice statue for the Empyrean collection? That would be weird to give someone a 25% discount for
never mind.
A thing they've already owned. Are you really hoping that someone sees this and they're like, oh, it's the same statue. I'll buy one for Age.
Is the Empyrean collection in-game or is it actually put in their store?
I think like it says when it becomes available, I think it's going to be along the same lines from the sounds of it as the sacrifice.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be a railjack statue.
I was going to say, do you think it's going to be a railjack, or are they going to go with a frame again? Because the other popular image that I've been seeing for Empyrean was the MAAD with her hands on the pilot, like the cockpit thing. Like, do you think it will be that, or do you think it will just be a railjack?
I think it's going to be an actual railjack. I don't think because here they have a statue, they have a bobblehead, They have in-game bonus platinum and a shirt. So I think they'll do a shirt and a statue of the Railjack and the in-game bonus platinum. I
Yeah, I
don't
think
think
a
they'll do a
safe bet
bubble
would
wrap.
probably be a railjack. Maybe a railjack, and then they'll send you a little coloring kit. You can dye your own railjack. Like,
Oh, like in those like car model things.
yeah,
I love those as a kid,
there you
man.
go. See, you're welcome, DE. I'll take my Empyrean railjack now, please.
Pre-order when it comes out. I guess we have to pay attention. And with it, I'll get my Darvo cup, my Darvo mug.
Also, another thing I saw on Reddit, which I think is a common thing I've seen, I think we've talked about it in the past with our other games and stuff like that, is on Reddit someone was basically talking about how they were falsely banned. They logged in one day and realized and showed that they were banned until 2035, which usually is synonymous with, the company banning you pretty much indefinitely.
Yeah, that's
It'd be great if it's still around 2035. Man, would I get my money's worth. But God, actually, probably wouldn't get my money's worth. I would probably be weeping at how much money I would spend by the time it was 2035 on this game.
Well, you couldn't because you're banned.
Well, I meant if I wasn't banned and how much I would have accumulated it by 2035.
That's
But
true.
they did contact support and apparently were unbanned. They tried to ask what reasons they were, why they were, because the person on staff did say that it appeared to be a false positive and then was corrected, so they unbanned them. But they were kind of angry that they did not give a clear reason as to why it was a false positive or why they were banned. They kind of gave them a generic possible cause list of like, I heard some people saying like, oh, if your machine overheats, it could sometimes create a false positive, like trying to do something with the memory. I don't know. You might know more about this stuff. Like it's sometimes could be causes of thinking of tricking. Software could detect it to think it's like trying to imitate that
when
kind
you're
of a
trying
thing.
to overclock, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
that was another thing I heard was a possibility of overclocking or.
But yeah, I think it's just like a general error for the ban, and then they found the bug and just corrected it. Maybe that's what it sounds like to me.
But I mean, do you think they should be required to tell you exactly what happened? Because I mean, I feel like we've talked about similar issues of this in the past with like Guild Wars 2 of like they
if
probably
a
don't.
bug like honestly, if a bug like this happens and they correct it, I think they deal with it on a case by case basis, like if
Okay.
people call in type of deal, because technically only people who really care will actually call in and ask like what the heck happened to my account, why was I banned type of deal. If it was a bug that was found and corrected, I don't think it warrants actually like speaking out. I think it's more like on a case by case basis.
Well, and I was to say I looked at it from like they probably don't want to make public information of how to circumvent these systems
Yeah,
also, which is usually.
yeah, to me it seemed.
I mean, I'm not accusing the person to be like, oh,
No.
they got away with it or something, like,
No. I think it
But
was just like they were updating their ban system. They accidentally flagged some people, and they just rectified it as quickly as possible. And if they had any support complaints, to deal with it on a case by case basis. Otherwise, to leave it as is. I think that's how they're dealing with it, which isn't. It seems pretty standard to me,
yeah, I was to
anyway.
say I feel like it's something we've always heard, but in case maybe people are new to the scene or
If
something
I
like
mean,
this,
like,
like
if like for me, if it'd be a problem if they banned them and didn't unban them, and they were
yes,
wrongfully banned, that would be a problem. Yeah,
but yeah,
and
that wasn't the case. They realized their error and but usually companies really won't tell you how it was because they don't want that to be a public knowledge thing because then people
yeah,
could trick it and
exactly.
get
Yeah,
through it. But But yeah, last but not least, our lovely segment, the age-old answer, where we go on to the Warframe wiki, and in order to try to expand our knowledge of the game, uh, we we hit the random button on the page and ask for a random page on the Warframe wiki, and this week, we got actually the Lotus, which for people that don't know is kind of a big deal in the game. And I now before you do it, I did. You'll probably tell I did block out the in-game lore bits, so this is pretty much spoiler free, and we'll probably try to talk about it spoiler free if you are trying to enjoy it. So, warning: if you do try to click on the link to the page, it will contain spoilers to the story. But I kind of make a jump down to the trivia section, which I'm not sure if people know, but the Lotus is actually voiced by one of the DE community managers, Rebecca Ford. So,
Oh, really? Wow.
see, look, you learn something new. Yeah, that's why they all call her Space Mom.
Wow. She's a good job. Wow. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's like, she does a good job. I can't really. I'm trying to like remember Lotus' voice and then her voice. I'm like, that's pretty good. Huh.
Okay, and it does have it in the trivia thing because I did hear this before. Was weirdly enough, I guess it was in earlier builds. Warframe implied that the Lotus was actually an organization rather than an individual, and I guess it was changed. It was changed later, so. But little cool thing of like, ooh, would have been a. Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I'm actually surprised Chad as well that he didn't know Reb was the true Space Mom.
I don't know. Learned something new.
But that is basically all we can really talk about without getting into spoilers about the Lotus. I mean, but definitely, if you are interested or gone through the story, maybe look at some of the other trivia things. But
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, so I guess that's it for the news this week. I guess a little bit of a announcement. I guess it might be. Oh, I don't want to say. Oh, chat is saying Megan does one of the female rescue people, and Valkyrie Scream. I knew about Valkyrie Scream. I did not know about the rescue people, but. Oh, and Danielle does Saren Scream. I did not know that. Cool. So a little bit of news here. We're actually as Via the Void, as a weekly news podcast thing, just time wise, and I think our interests of things, we're probably not going to be doing the podcast. We're putting the podcast on hiatus, but I still encourage people, if you're following either myself or Age, if we're personally streaming things, I'm sure if you've been lucky enough, because heck, if you've been in one of my streams, it is probably harder to find one of my actual streams and be there live than it is to kill a Kuva Lich, because it don't happen that often. The RNG is low. But I'm always open to talking about news in any game, even if I'm not playing that game. If you want to talk about it, people know about that when we're doing the Talking Script podcast. I talk about Warframe during pre-show and after show. Like, I'm always open to talking about games and stuff like that. But we are putting on a hiatus. But I know it is sad. But I don't think that's going to be the end of MAAD Realms and Via the Void. I think we're going to want to do stuff like maybe competitions or something. Like, we were building up the whole Gauss and Grendel thing. Maybe doing other things when it's spurs the moment, but we also did start throwing around ideas of like even smaller scale like news bits, maybe similar to what you've seen with other Warframe YouTubers or something like that, where it's when a segment comes up and it's big enough, maybe just saying, here's the facts, what do you guys think? So it'd be shorter things. But I still think it'll become, the news will still be there in some form, hopefully, ideally. But like I said, if we're doing streams or something like that, I know for me, I would always be happy to, talk about things back and forth with people. I mean, but I just think time wise, and it's just one of those tough things. But yeah, I hope no one sees this as an end. And who knows? Like I said, we definitely want to call it a hiatus because, heck, maybe we just need a winter break or something. Because I know while we've only done 12 episodes of this, we've done every week basically for Talking Script stuff. So I think it's just a lot of stuff that's been just. It's a lot. I think it's a lot to put a show together and stuff. And I think it's just. I know been wearing on me personally and stuff like that. So, but I hope maybe because we'll be able to do more creative things and maybe more along the lines of Let's Plays and stuff like that, where it would just be us playing a game and talking about maybe that game, maybe anything, like, doesn't even have to be games. It could be how much a hatchet costs. If you saw this past episode Talking Script, you never know where it goes. But I think it's just one of those things, and I hope, like I said, if you are watching this on YouTube, we're going to be releasing our Gauss and Grendel race that we've been saying once both come out, we'll have to do it. And maybe that'll show maybe some of the stuff that we want to do, and hopefully you'll stick with us. And like I said, when things happen, oh, you shush. But, and like I said, if you're watching this on Twitch, after we end the show, well, we have plans to actually show it here as well. So if you are here live, we'll, you'll definitely get a little sneak peek beforehand. But, yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does suck. I mean, it's a great community, and like I said, we're still gonna be here. I don't want to make it sound like we're going away forever or anything, but I guess as a hiatus outro, don't know when we'll be back. Maybe they'll announce Empyrean and we'll have the itch to we'll be back next week. I don't know. That's it. DE, it's on you. No.
Just like Dad said, like maybe we'll do like one-off shows if anything or something like that. But
yeah.
For now, we'll just like play Warframe, enjoy Warframe.
Yeah, we'll actually get to play the game and maybe play with people, like everybody in chat, or if you watch us on YouTube, like more the merrier. Go to our if you join our Discord and you're like, hey, I want to play. If we have more time to play, well, I know I'll be jumping in and stuff. So
yeah, I'm trying to pop in more, but I have OT this holiday season, so.
Oh my god. And chat saying, when Empyrean drops and we can have ship shenanigans. Oh, trust me, I'm ready with my Hydroid. I'm pirating that ship up, man.
As long as we have sea shanties.
I mean, we got Shazens. We can do this.
This is true. I really like
talk like a pirate knights. We can make this happen, people. All right. See, look, all the ideas are already generating. So, like I said, I think this is the important thing. As you can see here, we're still in love with the game. We're like, this isn't an end. This is just the podcast is a Kuva Lich. You may have jabbed us, but you didn't have the right kill word. We're coming back in a different form, more powerful, probably less tired.
Yeah. Especially me. Jeez.
But yeah, so once again, thank you everybody for being here for the if this is your first episode, oof, or all 12 episodes or whatnot, or 12 episodes plus where we annoyed you during pre-show and after show talking Scrit, where we talked about Warframe. But yeah, so once again, thank you all, and I guess Age, where can they find you?
Twitch or YouTube at Age Road. I was trying to think if I can stream this week or there's like a chance, but I'm just not going to.
Well, you're doing overtime.
Just follow me on Twitter. You'll know when I stream. I'll tweet it out. That's what I'm going to say from now on, because I can't promise I'm going to stream anything. Because I always say there's a chance I'll stream something, but it's like I end up not doing it. So just follow me. There you go. Awesome. If you want to know.
And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. Hopefully, as things progress, more on Twitch. Now, granted, I know I'm already coming up with an excuse, but next week, basically for the last like month, I've had a broken tooth where I've had to wait for like a month to actually get a doctor to extract it. And so that's happening next week. So hopefully after that and it gets to heal, then I'll be able to stream more, because I don't know if you could tell. I'm in a bit of pain right now, but I think I've played it off pretty well. But yeah. So that is it for this week. Like I said, remember, if you are here live, stick around. We'll give a little bit of break time and stuff, and we'll kind of play the race here live, and love to hear your guys' reactions. But like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, which is youtube.com/MAADrealms, we'll probably taper that out, where this will go up on the podcast will probably go up on Wednesdays right around noon Eastern as usual. We'll maybe set that up to go out maybe 2 or 3, so you're not getting hit all at once or something. But yeah, we'll love to hear your feedback on that. Maybe if you enjoyed it or laughed or cried or enjoyed my MAAD skills and Age's poor performance. But yeah. We'll see everybody next time. Take care. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Farewell, Tenno, until we meet again.